let's try and get this camera sorted. Okay, that looks about right. We're on the microphone. I can sort of see my hands. Ah, so we do have some people. We've got Tapped Maple, Scottish Picker, Yukoff, Terry, Fred Flintstoner, Unlocked, Gaz, Tequila Dave. Oh wow, you're all turning up. By the way, you can all blame Yukoff because he said, "Oh, you should just do some random live at some point." I was like, "Do you know what? I probably will do a random live at some point." LPM, hello, hello. Can you all hear me? Okay. I'm staring at the chat, hoping that the answer is going to be yes. Good. I'm sorry you can't hear anything, Yukoff. Good, good, good. Audio's good. Fantastic. Right, I don't know where to start with this live. I thought I'd just do a bit of an hour and just randomly chat about locks, but I assume that anybody joining this would probably expect me to chat about random locks anyway. So don't know where to start, but a good place to start would be some recent sort of purchases and other random things which I have had land on my doorstep, which may or may not feature in upcoming channels. For example, this, which was an eBay find. And it reminds me a little bit like a baby, one of those Matura locks. Obviously like something to do with a garage or lock-up. Kind of cool. I've not actually had a look on the inside, so I might just have a peek on the inside of this one now. Watch it all go flying, and but I'm expecting a lever lock of some kind, naturally. Got to find the right size screwdriver. This is not the right size screwdriver. I did buy myself one of these though. Oh, by the way, sorry, Rune. If anybody has any questions, that would really help the content flow, because I have no idea what I really want to do with this. I just want to say hi to a few people on a Sunday night. So if you've got anything to say, I'm reading all the comments as we go. Hey, hi Carl. Let's have a look on some of this. Ah, Law Lock Tools. Good to see you on there. Had quite a few people chat about Law Lock Tools' picks recently when asking me what good tools there are to buy in the UK. And I always say that Law Lock Tools are definitely worth checking out. They're not a sponsor, so I absolutely mean it. I did grab a load of Law Lock Tools' offcuts for steel to make picks with, and I've got to say, it's super hard stuff to work with, which means great for making picks out of. I don't know if I've got any here actually. Nothing to hand actually. No, I thought I might have one. I'll show you off. I'll show off some of my handmade picks in a minute. That'll be good content. So yeah, that's really cool, isn't it? The good thing about this is, unlike the Matura, it looks like we don't have, even though we've got 1, 2, 3 throws, there aren't any false gates in this, which means it's going to be 100 times easier. If I can get a good, if I can get a tension tool, may have to make a tension tool. So yeah, it's all good stuff. Oh, hi Dark Arts. Dark Arts is another person who has makes tools, and is definitely a channel and website worth looking at if you're into some sort of interesting lock picking and EDC type carry stuff. It's definitely really interesting stuff to look out for. So yeah, do go check out Dark Arts lock picking stuff for sure. Hey, Borderlocks. Good to see you, mate. So yeah, all right. Since we randomly brought up homemade picks, let me go get my set. Here we go. This, by the way, is a pen display case. It's like really weird. I don't like the fake plasticky wood, but I don't know. It sort of appealed to me. And yes, it's got in a few things that I've made, a few things which I haven't made, some things which are really cool, some things which are not really cool, but have some kind of meanings and stuff made by other people. Like this is, I think, made by Matt's lock pit. This is a shipwreck teak lockpick he made. Look at that. Isn't that cool? So obviously that gets pride of place. And yeah, some just fun stuff in here. Some of these were the earlier ones I made. I had to say, do you not think that the pen acrylic stuff, when it's got a shine on it, just looks really beautiful? It can be a little bit flexible, especially if you do partial tangs, but a full tang like this, just so nice. I think that this one was made with Law Lock Tools steel. Add some old RAM that I found. I like these gold contacts. That's kind of cool. IDK fancy pick set. Yeah, they're just handmade ones that I made. Every time I come up with saying, oh look, it's like this one has actually stained the weird plastic insert on this. I'm not that upset by it. Clearly a bit cheap. There you go. This one was an interesting one, made out of rosewood and a coloured epoxy, and I sort of made this sandwich. I really quite like it. It's a little bit interesting, but I do like it. This one was made out of steak knife, a rosewood steak knife, huge water damage. So Liam says, I'm having trouble picking a lock because the keyway's too small. Are there any picks small enough to pick them? Depends what you mean by small. I've got a random small padlock somewhere here to demonstrate that. Here we go. So, depends what we mean by small keyways, because technically both of these are quite small keyways but offer completely different challenges. So for example, this is a relatively small keyway with a relatively small key, but the keyway is incredibly open, and if I get I think like an 18,000th pick like this, I can pick quite freely all the way up. If I try that in this, I can't. I get deflected off to the side by about 20 degree angle. There are a few ways around that, Liam. One is to buy thinner picks, but that's not always the answer, truthfully. For example, this is a hook at 25,000th, and look, all I need to do is just rotate it around the warding like this. It's not always about the thickness, it can be the steepness as well. I mean, I've got, say, picks in 20,000ths here if I find one. So here's a Euro hook in 20,000ths. Does that actually make any difference, it being thinner? No, not really. So for me, a lot of it is about not so much the thickness of the pick, but the thinness of the shanks. So you're looking at sort of this height rather than this thickness. Not all the time, but for the most part, that's what you're looking at. Now, Southord did the best picks, in my opinion. They don't make them in this thickness anymore, but these were Max Yield picks, and they were 23,000ths, and just look how thin the shank is this way and this way, and these were perfect for these small keyways. They weren't anything silly like 12,000ths or 15,000ths or even 18,000ths. They're 23,000ths, but they could really work in any keyway. Borderlock said he made a pick at 12 thou. It's only good for a couple of uses, and that was scrap. Yeah, and that's the thing, you lose that durability. The thinner a pick is, the harder it is to get feedback off it. Quite often, and you might see that on this 18,000th pick, I just draw lines. I go in and I feel where a pin is, and I just mark it off with a line. And you think, why? Well, if I'm using a really thin pick, not necessarily this one is a bad example, but if I'm using one at 12 thousandths, I don't want to ruin the pick by picking warding or not picking where the pin is, and I'm under tension. Sometimes I mark off on the pick with a marker pen to get positioning, so I'm less likely to damage the tool. And if I'm rubbing against warding because it's really tight keyways, then those little marks really help. And when you think about it, a lot of professional tools are marked, whether it's a safe pick or a lever lock pick or whatever. They've got little lines on, but lock picks, by the nature of them working, you wouldn't etch on these, they'd snap. But a temporary bit of drawing really goes a long way. It really does. Oh, thanks, JT. Says, love watching your vids. No, I really appreciate it. Tequila said, hasn't opened the sliver kit. That's the 12,000th one Sparrows did. But yeah, so just carrying on through this, we've all seen this. I love the profile. It's a PQRS wave or a heartbeat, but it's completely impractical because it's really tall. It's about 6mm, and the pin's canyon. But I love the look of it. The handles are extra thick nylon cable ties, 13mm ones. This is one of my favourite picks that I've made. It's really sort of skinny. It's made out of this composite, what's it called? It's like a diamond wood where they impregnate sort of stained burr with resin, full tang. And this might be a Lock Tools steel one as well. I just really like this pick, really love it. But they don't have to be fancy. Some can just be really simple, like this. Nothing wrong with it, just a standard, I think this is oak or something like that, half tang, just really nice. Yeah, making your own picks is really good fun. But I still think out of all of them, something like simple as this, which I think is just a Sparrows pick with some scales, it looks beautiful to me. I love it. Anyway, yeah, that's just some random ones that I've made that I thought you might be interested in since we brought that up. But there's a mixture of things in here from, I think I've got some vent cut-offs, or lock tool cut-offs. I've got some blanks from Yale's Leviathan, if anybody remembers Yale. Yeah, all sorts of things. Ah, Rune, I'm so sorry. Look, have a great sleep. Rune International is so knowledgeable, especially around Ruco locks. Great person as well. So rest well. What pick do you use to open your multi-lock ML410s? ML410s. Master Lock 410s. Oh yeah. So this is what they call the Master Lock paradox, isn't it? The 410s are serrated. So there's 6 pins, and they're serrated and they're dead cool. There's no spring to help you out. And the truth is they're quite tricky. Unlike a lot of Master Locks, just don't rotate them past about 20-30 degrees. Otherwise, all the pins spill out the other side. I don't have an example of a core where that happens on me to hand, but yeah, it's really bad. I make it look too easy. So yeah, okay, so this is really important to understand that YouTube isn't fake per se, but you just only see what we want you to see, right? Because nobody wants to see like hours and hours of somebody practicing on one single lock. It's just not entertaining, and YouTube it's about entertainment and education. But you know, there are some locks that I've literally tried to pick for hours and failed. We've all had those locks, but nobody's going to watch that on YouTube. It's not interesting. So we just practice and practice and practice until we get an open on some of those difficult locks. But you don't see that practice. You don't see the retakes. You don't see the swearing. And you know, it takes a lot of time. It really does. I mean, there's locks which I just can't pick at all. This is one of them. I mean, when I say, you know, there are locks, this is literally a lock I just haven't been able to pick. This as a twin combi. Just awful. So yeah, don't worry about if YouTube makes it look easy. It's sort of designed to make things look easy, but only by its nature. It's not trying to, you know, it's not trying to be fake. It's just the reality of the fact that if you want to make something entertaining and educational, you want to make something which is relatively short and tells a story. But the bit you're not seeing is the practice and failure, mostly because it's just not that interesting to watch. But it does happen, so never think that you're Yeah, yeah. Never think that YouTube doesn't make things look easy. It does. It absolutely does. Oh, my Bowley 543 is not going to be picked. I'm pretty sure no one's picked that padlock. Is that the double key one? Is that this one with the double key? Yeah, I know that the single one has. Who did that? That was Chris Ahern. Is that right? I might get that wrong. Hey, Cranky Lockpicker. Hey, Sielkowski. He says it's indeed about practice, and well, no one wants to see 3 hours of picking an asa. No, no. I mean, well, maybe, but no, but also possibly. A Ruco 3 and an Ingersoll that have never been able to pick. Well, a Ruco. Oh, I've got a whole bag of Ruco somewhere. Where are they? These are some unpicked Rucos, which were part of an exchange with Oceanaut, who is a great picker, really nice person, and a collector of Ruco. And these are just some of the ones which I've not got round to picking yet. I love picking them though. Some are awesome. In fact, my friend Yukov lent me a Ruco 2 close shackle, which you can rake, which is brilliant because it makes you look like a superhero. But the reality is that the bitting was just poor, and it's not a good reflection of Ruco at all, because they're genuinely always hard. Even the classic sort of is it the 600 or 500? I can't remember, but yeah. So I've got a few Ruco here on my list. Silkowski Sporting Lock said, I've done some failed to pick videos. The comments were brutal. Yeah, people can be a-holes, can't they? But yeah, the reason I tend not to do them is it's just not that entertaining. Although maybe I should do one for fun, but I don't know. It might be like people expecting to see a lock then picked, and then they probably just get a bit disappointed in the end. But I mean, look at that. I mean, that kind of bitting, it just shows that they do not like lock pickers, or maybe they really like us. It's hard to say, isn't it? But that's just really bad. I mean, you talk about a lock having a small keyway and that being hard to pick. When you've got things like this, that can be really painful to find a pick which can fit into the keyway and not overset, say, pin, what would this would be actually pin, I think it looks like pin possibly 1 or 2. This, I think the Ruco Series 1200, this particular one, the key pins have a notch on and they sit between 2 positions, so it looks like this is like a 20 pin lock, but it's not. It's actually just got 2 positions the key pin sits in, so that would be position 1, would be those 2 notches there, 1 and 2. But you can see that then this one, position 2, I think here, with its 2 notches, it'd be very hard to pick that and 3 without oversetting pin 1. This kind of thing is really sort of brutal, and sometimes you just have to walk away from the lock. You know, you either have to make a tool as opposed to find one. You go through hundreds of sorts of sets of lock picks and never quite find the one which fits that lock or can pick that high pin. And that's another thing about YouTube videos, of course. It's, in reality, if you saw this lock and you didn't know the key and the bitting, you didn't have the hours of practice, and you were a locksmith and you wanted to open a lock like this, genuinely, unless you were extremely experienced with one type of lock, or, you know, savant type of skill, you're unlikely to be able to pick one of these in the wild. You just wouldn't. And that's the thing about, I guess, lock sport in general, is that it's a snapshot of lock picking. It doesn't really reflect a reality. But the fact is, it's super fun, and it's a private, fun journey on unlocking, no pun intended, these puzzles. Kappa 6111 says, I started lockpicking because YouTube suggested lockpicking videos about 2 months ago. Thank you, YouTube. I'm on way to becoming a major criminal. Well, thank goodness you put the winky smiley face. Yeah. I just, God, I could think of so many easier ways to become a criminal than learn to lockpick. But yeah, look, this is a Ruco Combi 2, which is very similar to the Asa Combi. It's still got those 2 rows of pins with the sort of, I just, yeah, I can't imagine picking one of these anytime soon, genuinely. But yeah, whole bag of Rucos. I think some of these are very similar. But yeah, this is where Ruco became Assa Abloy, so you got similar locks, but obviously different keys. Yeah, very cool though. Ooh, sorry, loud noises. Funky Monk says, Assa Abloy Ruco 2 padlock, been unable to get anywhere with it. Might have to progressive pin to get there. Yeah, great. Absolutely, progressive pinning is the way forwards with these really difficult locks. Art Acker says, well said, does not reflect reality. No, and anybody telling you different is selling something, trust me. 7-pin Ruco, progressive one at a time. Yeah, so I recently did a, I'll go get it actually. Wait there. Recently did this one actually. This was a dormer. So you might know Cabot dormer. One of the few which haven't been subsumed by Assa Abloy yet. I believe that they own, is it GG, dormer, Kaba, all those kind of things. So, you know, very high security, very high tolerance locks. And you can see again that kind of like mountain peak like bitting. And this is a 7-pin. This is a DC 500, I found out by chatting to people on Discord about it. But it's got, God, I wish I could show you the insides. I won't now because I'm bound to mess up the gutting. And apparently these are relatively rare to find, at least in the UK. So yeah, this has gin bottle spools, Christmas tree spools, undercutting, 7 pins, and yeah, I have no problems in saying that I progressively pinned this. I think I started at something like 5 and then worked my way up to 6 and 7 because it was just really difficult. And again, finding the right pick to be able to pick these pins here, pins 4 and 5 without oversetting 1 and 2, really difficult. Borderlock says, love GG's always a challenge. Yeah, I love picking them because you feel like great, but I also hate attempting to pick them because they're just so brutal. Dormer, another one which are a pain as well. Gaz says he can't pick his nose at the moment. Oh, honestly, we all have those down days where you just have one of those locks and you should be able to pick it and you can't. It just makes you want to cry. Been there so many times. And then you've got locks like this, which I don't even know where to begin with one of these. It's a beautiful fichet. I don't even know the model number. It's gorgeous, isn't it? JT, I needed this video and chats just get so frustrated at times. Don't know anyone in real life, so depend on YouTube. Mate, honestly, don't worry about it. Lockpicking is frustrating, but it's like a lot of things. If you're not having fun, just stop and have a rest. There's no, I know it's. I see lockpicking in general as a relatively like private hobby in its own way. You know, it's got to be for you and your enjoyment. I'm lucky I get to share it on YouTube, frankly. Gaz says, no, GGs are great. No, they are, but they're just pretty awful. But also, you know, it's just too hard. Oh dear. Where is real? Borderlox is asking, where is real life? That's yeah, that's very existential. Okay, what else can we chat about? What else have I got behind me then? Let's have a look at my random shelf of stuff that I still have to pick. So I've still got like loads of bags of stuff. So this is a lot of stuff sent by Talan Pick, an amazing Spanish picker, and he just ends up like sending me some really interesting stuff, very hard stuff as well. But this one, I'm going to put a puzzle out. This is an ATZ security, but what is it really? What keyway is that? Come on, you know it. Yep, Yukov has got it. Yeah, it's basically a Milenico or a Magnum or a Yale Superior or Platinum, depending which way you want to get it. So it's really interesting. I think the original was a Milenico, but I think they licensed it out to Yale, so it makes me think that they've also licensed it out to other people too. Somebody said, "What's the hardest locks in your collection?" IDK. So what's the hardest locks in my collection? Okay, well, I don't know if I can reach all of them, but there's going to be things like this one. The Twin Combi is just awful to pick. I know that Silovkovsky did one on his channel, so that's really cool. This one is a 484 Fichet 484. Some of these come without false gates and are pickable. I picked one without false gates. I mean, they're a pain, but they're doable. But when they do have false gates, they are truly, truly awful. If you look on the Reddit lockpicking belt ranking system, this is a black belt, and for darn good reason. It really is. Then you've got weird stuff, which frankly you're going to be hard pressed to pick unless you actually had a specific pick, really, which is things like this beautiful Fichet here. This is technically a lever lock. The levers are all in a circle and they're pushed sort of apart by this bitting, or it looks like an arrowhead. It's absolutely incredible stuff. It really is. Oh wow! I think somebody, Jay said, Jay, thank you so much for the donation. I honestly, I think that's the first time anybody's ever like done some donations directly to my channel. I forgot it was even a feature. I think you get a chance to turn it on or off. I didn't even know that it was on. But hey, it's appreciated a lot. Thank you so much. So yeah, and look at this. So what else? First live chat is going to be a part of. I'm honoured. Might have missed it, but also about Medicos. Oh, Medicos. Do you know what? Medicos are a strange beast. I've had some success with them, but I haven't picked one for so long. Genuinely, I don't know if I'll be able to pick one right now. Generally don't, mate. But you know, being able to, I think between the Peterson gem and maybe the monkey paw, you know, being able to rotate those pins might be possible. They're both quite good at sort of grabbing hold of those pins, but it's been a while. It really has. I'm more fun picking and beating my acid twin because you don't rotate the side pins. Ah, I thought, don't you have to do some rotation with the acid twins? I'm sure you do. More donate a lot, the better you get at lot picking. Yeah, look at this little. So Asba, I believe, is a Spanish make, but this is a Caba Asba. It's really hard to know which lock company is in bed with whom and who's licensing to what, and it's really strange. But is this a? I don't know which one this is. It's a more than a Caba 8, isn't it? Yeah, these are really cool though. I don't know where I got this one from, actually. But this is like obviously one of the worst made, cheapest Chinese dimple padlocks ever. But at least it's a dimple padlock. It doesn't even have like double bitting, so it's just so cheap. I wonder if you can insert the key the other way. No, you can't, thankfully, just because of the slope at the front. Wow. But yeah, do you know what? I even like rubbishy locks like this because they're their own unique challenge. They're kind of fun. What else do we have in here that he sent? Yes, this is a Caba Quattro, I believe. Are you compensated for your contribution to lockpick companies? Good question. So, I don't know how to answer that because people won't believe me. But I'll answer it honestly, Jay. And the truth is, I have been compensated for my design. I think way back when I used to get like some from free kit now and again from a manufacturer for the design, so to speak. But that was like years and years and years and years ago now. I've been around for like almost 6 years on this channel, I think, something like that. But for the most part, no. And I certainly never take a cut of profits. That's why you won't see affiliate links or anything like that. And the reason is that whilst I don't mind somebody paying for my consultation services or designs or whatever it is, it's after that point I don't want to feel like I need to sell something, right? So any of the designs I've been part of, whether it's just randomly helping out a lot company for free, which I do sometimes, or making a design, as hard as it is for some people to understand, I get the most enjoyment in locksport by coming up with designs and being able to share them with people. I'm in a very, very privileged position where, for whatever reason, I can approach some companies, and sometimes they say no, but sometimes they say yes, and I can share some random ideas, some which are good, some which are not so good, with other people. Now, you've got no idea how much enjoyment that gives me. But what I don't want to do is feel like I have to then sell that, and it's like, oh, this is the best pick ever, I use it all the time, and then have to use it in a load of videos. If you look at my, I know can I ever be truly independent when I work with so many companies? No, probably not. That's why I do so much disclosure on my channel when I do reviews and things. My channel is what it is, but it's up to other people to decide whether they watch my content. But if you look at my kits, it's just a mishmash of everybody. I try to not show sort of favoritism in any particular brand. I just use whatever is sort of easy and available and around, and that I'm used to. It's sometimes it's familiarity more than sort of functionality. It's what am I most used to? What have I sort of grown up with as a lockpicker, rather than what is the best one available or the best one out there. So I know it's a bit of a rambling answer, but I sort of do get compensated by mostly by the fact that I've got my designs out there. And it's something which I can sort of show off, and I can be proud of, and that other people give me good feedback. I'm very fortunate that a lot of the stuff which has gone out there in terms of designs, people actually find useful. When I randomly see on like an Instagram picture something like these two tools here, for example, or somebody using a monkey paw or something like that, and they don't even know who I am, it's just something they found they like. That's what gives me the most sort of payback, is knowing that people like my designs, my random thoughts, my weirdness. And also, you've got to bear in mind that I really believe that lockpicking should be fun as well. It's not about efficiency. I know that's a really weird one, but I'm sure that there's going to be like the most efficient way to pick a lock. But sometimes it's about having fun with it and trying new rakes and designs, and and weird stuff. It's like, take grim survival stuff. This is not great. I mean, look at these. Okay, they're pretty bad, but somebody's made some pretty good improvements with the later set. Now, are these as functional as some of the as a standard lockpick, for example, like this one? No. Are they as good as some of the other sets that are out there? Well, no. Does that mean I don't like them? No, I really actually do still like this. I know that's weird, but lockpicking for me is about sometimes the fun factor as well. Which may annoy some people, because a lot of people take their lockpicking incredibly seriously as well. And I get that. Trust me, I really do. But I'd like to think that it's got space for fun, frivolity, and silliness as well. A couple of people saying they like the monkey paw. That's really cool. Thank you. Wow, lots of go-to picks. Yeah, weird as. So yeah, what are you doing, chat? Trying to read some of the comments. Sorry. Maisie Swan, new lockpicker and a suck, but I'm working hard at it. Yeah, honestly, that's the only thing you can do. You've got to practice. I know it's so silly and it's so easy to say, oh, you've got to practice, but out of all the hobbies, a bit like learning guitar, it's hard. It's hard. It just is hard. I get emails from people saying all the time, can you help me pick this plastic padlock? I've been at it for hours, which is almost unbelievable when you think they're designed to easily pick. But we all start somewhere, and you've got to remember that. It's how you get better. Keep practicing. Absolutely. Oh, Deputy Dog said he made a copy of the monkey paw. Cool. Yeah, making your own tools is awesome. Gantry, what, everyone started the party without me? Yeah, you better have bought chips. Oh, Dalp, what product that I designed am I most proud of? Wow, that's hard. That's a really hard question. I think it's the checkers and chess pins. I don't know if I've got... One second. I think I've got cut away with something. Hold on. So, these are the Sparrows versions of the check pins, they're called. And yes, this has gone really yellow. I might recast these in a better epoxy. This was too fast setting, and it sort of cooked as it cured. It wasn't so good. Has very poor UV resistance, but you know. But yeah, why I'm proud of this is because when I first approached Sparrows, it was about a different thing altogether, and they went, yeah, that's kind of cool, but we really like these sort of chess piece challenge pins you made. Can we do something with them? I was like, oh, yeah, sure, that's amazing. And I think it's what I'm really proud of is that these are the first commercially available challenge pins for people to just stick in their locks, especially these like little kick cylinders that take those sort of 2.8mm pins. And yeah, so for me it was it is really these that I'm probably most proud of, just because I did them because I had the idea of doing chess piece themed pins, and I thought it was really cool. And the ones I made myself, of course, are a little bit more detailed, but you can only do so much from a commercial standpoint in terms of, do I mean commercial? From production standpoint in terms of manufacturing, easily. But yeah, it's these ones which I'm probably most proud of. Zach McGill said, what's my favourite lockpick set? Oh, that's a hard one. I always said that, and I never got, well, actually, that's not quite true. So, I did recently get hold of a Southwold Max set, but they don't do them anymore. And I was saying, if they made the 23,000 plastic handled picks, possibly that would be my favourite set. I also really like the... Have I got it here? Oh, really like the Yale Cylinder's Peterson set. But as you can see, just by looking at it, the QC on Peterson picks is disappointing sometimes. Let's put it that way. When they're good though. And these 18,000s are great. In terms of like other pick sets, there's so many good ones. Law Lock Tools Valerian set. I think the Dangerfield Serenity double set. Pretty much anything by Multi-Pick. I like the Christine Palmer, the extra large set, and also the of course, you know, the Lock Noob set that I curated. I didn't design anything in there apart from the Abona and Monith rakes, but that one's cool. There's so many good ones by Sparrows, and you know, the Tuxedo's really good. For beginners, I mean, it's really hard to not recommend the Southwold C2010 set. I mean, it's like genuinely hard because it's got like a bit of everything in here. The truth is, we're spoiled. We really are. The vent sets that Talonpick and I sort of helped sort of guide them to make. So their original sets weren't so good, so I've been trying to help them make something a bit better. And their handles, their interchangeable handles, are really good. So those sets are pretty sweet as well. I mean, Is there? I mean, is there a company that, like one of the big companies? Is there a big company out there who doesn't make quite good picks these days? Genuinely, I mean, I don't know. But if I had to choose my all-time favourites, it's got to probably be the Southall Maxim 23,000s. But you just can't get hold of them anymore. After that, as long as you know, buy something in budget and not a super big set, and lots of tension tools, it really doesn't matter which brand you go for these days. I mean, look at my set. I've got everybody in here, and I've got them in there because they're all good. It's hard to buy bad picks from the major manufacturers these days because there's so much good competition. It's just hard to buy bad ones. There's something sort of for everybody, I think. Oh, lots of UKLS people. Awesome. That's a UK Locksport forum, one of the best forums out there for absolutely sure. Oh, cool. Forte in Blue said, it's my go-to, love the multi-pick lock noob set. Thank you. No, I wish I'd designed more picks in there. When Christina Palmer did hers, she obviously designed a lot of the stuff in there, made adjustments. Great set. When I did it, I just wanted to try to make something which was like big, had dual gauges in there, and also some of the dimple picks, left and right dimple pick. I thought it was really important to have that in a set, because I don't think there's any other lockpick set which has picks for standard picking rakes and dimple picks and dual gauge. So that's really what I was going for, something which was like a real coverall basis there. Oh, lots of tension tools. Yes. Yeah, I mean, just look. I mean, I've got lots of picks in this set for sure, but just look at the number of tension tools I've got. And then that's not including all the sort of top of the keyway, and yeah, these are my Curve Mad Bobs ones. They're no longer in production, but I do love them nevertheless, especially for in-hand picking. And yeah, I mean, there's a lot of commercial ones in there. The ones I don't use and just there for just hanging around purposes are these flexi ones. Lockpicking Laura and I do agree on this, is that these are basically pointless unless you're electro picking, I think. But some of my most used ones are just ones I've made myself out of a bent wiper blade, like this, just the top of the keyway picking. Where's a lock? So an example would be like this. Here we go. Just hook it in the top like that, and provide tension. And there is really nothing better than that technique. So little of the keyways is being used. It doesn't slip. It doesn't catch against the body of the lock. And just having some really good ones. The multi-pick ones, which are these extra thick ones in 1.3, are superb as well, because they're just thick enough to sort of jam in the bottom of the keyways, and sort of like, you know, you get really good tight control. I think the Christian Holler set has those as well. So there's a few companies now doing sort of thicker in that dimension, which is really, really awesome. So yeah, I'd like to see more companies do thicker tension tools, but not in yeah, just thicker in general. I don't know what I'm even saying anymore. In terms of so I don't know whether this is available on his website. It's not a plug, but I was sent one of these ones by I'm going to get this wrong. I'm kicking myself now. A name will come to me anyway, but this is just really, really awesome, because it's so strong and it's quite thick. So I think it's 1.2 and very strong. When I really need to crank the tension up, these are really awesome. But I've got a bit of everything in here, because if you can't tension a lock, you can't pick it. So, you know. Sorry, I'm just reading something. Hardest lock I've ever picked. Okay, so one of the hardest locks I picked, I on the spot, I don't know if I could really say for sure what is the hardest lock I picked. That's a good question, by the way. But I maintain it's one of these. It's a beast. The Chubb Ava. Now, you can't pick, this is a 10 lever, you can't really pick these, you have to decode them, and you need a specific tool which is only made by one person, and that's GJ Locks, I think, and that's under license or with somebody else. I don't know, but they're 10 unsprung sliders. I did a video on this, There's also a good article from somebody called Han Fei as well, who wrote this, and there's a good write-up in the high security lock book, which I can't remember the title of, but yeah. Anyway, this because the sliders are free floating, even when you decode them, just by moving the tool, you tend to move a slider by maybe tenths of a millimeter, enough for the mechanism to catch again. So even when you've decoded it, it might not unlock for another hour. I'm not joking. It's so frustrating. I've been on the edge of tears with these, and I think you might get lucky on some of them. Like they might just pop open depending on the bitting, but that is certainly not my experience at all. And it could just be me. Like we all have locks which are hard and ones which are easy, and some people find hard locks easy and easy locks hard. Some people just can't pick a certain type of lock, and maybe it's just a mental block. Some people find that lock easy, and vice versa. So yeah, but you answer the question, what's the hardest lock? It's that 10-slider AVA, and I've never found them easy, ever. Or AVA, I don't know how you pronounce it. Ken Nixon, Hanfei, good stuff. Yeah, if you notice, I'm trying to just shout out to as many people in the community as possible. Rubber Band, that's the one. Rubber Band is the guy who sent me these. God, I really wanted to just like, it's Hooligan Keys, I think is his website. Go check that out. Not a sponsor again. Nobody's sponsoring this content, so all views are my own. So far, I've picked some old wood handle steak knives. Been great so far. GQ Man 565, yeah. So I brought this one up earlier. This was a rosewood steak knife originally. I really like this. Do I like these big screws? I don't know. I sort of do, I sort of don't. But the rivets which were in here were countersunk really deeply, so I couldn't just pin them, and it would have looked awful. And because I'd got so far as making a video, I needed something to put together. And actually, I don't know. I kind of like the steampunk kind of look, but it might not be to everybody's taste. Oh, Dave Adian. Hi everyone, just found this on live. Awesome. Welcome, Dave. Oh, by the way, if anybody thinks I haven't answered a question about anything properly, or want me to expand on anything, then please do. I tend to just go off on my own mind and get distracted by things around me. So if you go, yeah, that didn't really answer my question or anything, just shout at me and I'll try to answer it a bit more. Hi, Isaac. Oh, Maisie Swan said, hit up the Lock Noob store, awesome shirts. Yeah, please do, actually. So I did design a lot of t-shirts myself, but I do use on, I think, 3 designs, I think. I sometimes use a Fiverr artist I use a lot. And the reason being is, even if I could do some of that artwork myself, I couldn't do it quickly. I just couldn't. It would take me a very long time, and I probably wouldn't do it anywhere near as good, genuinely. So if I can get a t-shirt design out there, because there's so many lockpicking t-shirts, and even if I just after tax clear the amount of money it cost me to hire a Fiverr artist and then sell it and do all that kind of stuff, then that makes me happy, because it's not about, I don't make a lot of money on the t-shirts at all, but I'm glad that they're out there, because there just aren't that many Locksport t-shirts, probably because most people think that's really sad, but I like them and I don't care. I wear my Locksport t-shirts. One of my friends, Rick, bought me a t-shirt which says something along the lines of the okayest lockpicker in the world, which I'll take. Peace Weapon Pick said, Lock Noob got a black 700 I can lend you. Just waiting for it. Oh, thank you so much. Yeah. So that's an Asa 700, very similar to that Dormer which I showed you earlier from Yukov, but apparently like super hard to pick as well. So, but that's going to be fun, because I do know that while Asa are hard, they're sort of hard and fair. Do you know what I mean? You don't feel cheated. You just know that it's a skill thing. It's not because the locks like purposefully trying to cheat you out of being picked. They're just really good locks, you know. Oh, what's a good lock cylinder for a complete beginner to practice on? Fantastic question, Gavin. So, depends whether you're talking about dimple locks or standard locks. I'm going to assume a standard lock, by which I mean something like this. And my answer would be a complete beginner should probably start with these two locks every day of the week. Master Lock 3, Master Lock M1, also known as the Magnum or XL. Okay, so a complete beginner should start with these and learn to pick them. They're only 4 pins, they're all standard pins inside, no security pins. This one hasn't got a sprung core, but this one does. You'll learn a lot from it. They've got really good clicks, great feedback, not that hard bitting. You learn to tension and balance the tension. You'll feel proud because they're known brands and names. You'll see these locks everywhere as well. Absolutely would recommend these. And then move on to something, if you're in Europe and you get hold of Euro cylinders, try and get hold of a very simple ISEO or CISA or CISA, don't know how to pronounce it, lock with spools in. The reason I said those two brands is because they're consistently good fun with really good feedback, and you know the keyways aren't hard, but they're a standard like Yale style keyway like this. The reason I'm not saying Yale in particular is because Yale can be very tricky. Some are very easy, some are very spooly, but some have mushroom pins, some have really hard keyways. I've got a Yale over here. Where is it? I've got to show you this. I'm terrified by it. So this is a typical Yale cylinder, right? Nothing too scary about that key. Let me just try and remove it. Oh, look at that bitting. This is one of those bittings which could be impossible, or at least incredibly tricky, or require some reverse picking or something, because the height between this bottom pin here and the bottom of the lock is smaller than from the bottom of that pin to the top of this, which means trying to get a pick tip underneath it that will pick that is going to be very difficult. There might be a more swooping pick that I might be able to do to get up there, but this is going to be really hard. So that's why I'm not necessarily recommending Yale. Yale spans a lot of different types of lock. Matthew Briggsy says, thanks for the beginner info, lot new, much appreciated. Do need to get a cylinder. I've got multiple padlocks. Yeah, on Ken Nixon, this is scary bitting. Yeah, genuinely, wow. Starters only need a medium hook, don't waste all money on lots of picks. 90% of the pin tumblers can be opened with a medium hook. I would agree. But I wouldn't go much higher than this sort of with a medium hook. Medium can mean a lot of things. But if I only had these two picks, this was made for me by another fantastic picker based in the UK, whose name has just gone completely out of my mind. It will come to me again. But yeah, that's what I call a short hook or a shallow hook. If I only had these two hooks, I'd pick probably 80% of the cylinders. Although you might need something a little crazier, like this Lunatic, for those locks which just have really crazy bittings. But you know, this technically, for example, could maybe reach up here, past those pins to pick that. But I don't know if the angle, you see that it's going to, no, that couldn't reach there because it's going to overlift this pin. I need something more swooping to pick that. It's an absolute nightmare. This might be one that I never get picked. It's about also how much time do I want to spend on trying to pick this lock when I've got so many other ones to learn. But yeah, I saw this and I just had to have it because the bitting was one of the worst I've seen. Oh, Gavin, you're in the UK. Fantastic, mate. Art Acker says, I have one like that with binding order that's made it impossible so far, so I installed it in my front door. I love that. I can't pick this lock, so it must be so good I'm going to actually use it. I love that. That's actually genius. Yeah, my front door would be broken because of the weight of locks I can't pick, actually, if I started doing that. Oh, Abus 8355 Rock. Impossible due to keyway and bitting. Yep. Yep. Oh, that comes back to the original point about YouTube and is it sort of real? And the fact is that, yeah, sometimes you just have to choose the lock you can pick as opposed to the locks you can't. And that's one of the issues with any sort of ranking system for locks, is that 80% of those Yales might have bittings which could be raked with a city rake, right? then you got that one. But that one could be like the equivalent of a black belt lock. It's so hard to pick and almost impossible to pick. But is a particular Yale model which might be only a blue belt lock. Not to say I don't like the belt ranking system. I actually think it's really good, and I think it's as good as you can probably get. But you should also know what its strengths and weaknesses are, so you understand, the reality of lockpicking. So yeah. But the belt ranking system is something I actually really do like. Others may disagree. Overlift reverse pick works with those Yaley Whaleys. Yeah, the only problem is the channel with absolutely no content is I'm terrible at reverse picking. I just don't have the tension control. Oh dear. Zach says, what kit? Is that to me, Zach? Oh, it says, I bought LPL Covert Companion last Christmas. Now realise longer individual picks are probably easier for beginner. Yeah, absolutely. So Covert Companion, I've not reviewed it yet. I intend to do that this year. At some point, I would say looks a lot of good fun, but you have to bear in mind it's like an EDC type arrangement. So it's a bit like those credit card pick sets or jackknives. They are fantastic, and you can pick, but you've got to be used to picking for them to be usable. And the shorter handles and the flexibility, it makes it harder. It does, but they're designed for in a pinch, not as your sort of standard pick set. And for that, they can be extremely good. But it's a sort of right tool for the right job. If you can use or carry a real pick set like this from any manufacturer, really, you're going to have better results than if you were using the credit card pick set, folding pick set, jackknife set, I don't know, whatever the variant is. Unless you're like a super skilled picker, of course. Sielkowski, I find the belt ranking divisive. Yeah, well, it is, but I think as long as you don't take it too seriously, it's certainly a lot of fun. When are you, Bill and Lockpicking Lawyer, going to another 3-hour video? Oh, do you know what? That was super good fun. I've not hidden at all the fact that Bosnian Bill was a huge influence on me, and you got to give it to the skill of Lockpicking Lawyer, and his ability to create entertaining videos, and for me, they were two sort of lockpicking heroes, and to do a video with them, talk about imposter syndrome. But yeah, super grateful. But unfortunately, Bill has retired. I hope he comes back. That it's a temporary retirement, but he's retired, and Lockpicking Lawyer is going great guns at the moment. So whilst I'm not saying it's impossible, I don't see us on the horizon anytime soon. But hey, of course I'll be up for it. I'll be up for doing a two-way video with any picker, really. It's one of the things I'd like to do, but I just haven't figured out the technology yet of how to do it. I will. There'll be a way. I'm sure there will be. That trio should learn sign language. Yeah, I only know my ABCs on sign language, I'm afraid, and yeah, that would take quite some time. Anyway, I might close down the live in a minute, unless there's any final questions. Only because it's quite late on a Sunday, and I just want to say hi to the community. It's been like crazy good fun chatting to you all. Oh, thanks, 1956 Willys 4x4. Oh, as in the Willys Jeep that the Land Rover was based on. Awesome. So that is confirmed. Bill's well, he put a statement out, Dan. Yeah. Cool. All right. In that case, everyone, I may just wrap this one up. It was only like a last minute little live stream just to say hi to everyone, because sometimes, yeah, it just feels good to connect with the community, answer any questions. Thanks, Isaac Hashman. Gavin says, I hope to do more live streams. Yeah, next time I'll be more prepared and actually have like a theme or something. This was just a random live, the first one sort of random live I've ever done. Just because, like I said, friend Yukov said, oh, you should really do a random live. I was like, you know what, I probably should at some point. But you know, after this, I'm going to go reply to all my YouTube comments. I try to do it like once a week. I probably reply to about 80 to 90% of my comments if I can. Well, ones on the latest videos. Just because, again, it's about just connecting with the community, really. And yes, Bill does almost have 2,000 videos to learn from, and I learned from them, trust me. Anyway, right. I will close, if I can figure out how to do it, I'm going to close the chat down. And so thank you all so much for joining me. It's so random for me to do, so so thank you for joining at such short notice. I really do appreciate it. Thanks for all the great comments and all the nice things that have been said. So Noxlock said, if we can only use one pick, what would it be? And I keep saying it's the Peach and Gem. It's just my most comfortable. If not that, it would be the Southall Max 07B. On Sparrow's SF, on Sparrow SF. Maisie, what do you mean Sparrow SF? Sparrows. Chat closes 5 minutes after you end stream. Okay, cool. Right. Oh, from Bristol. Well, I'm from Bristol, Matthew Briggsy. So maybe I'll walk past you in the street sometime. Stream more. I will do. I promise. Promise. Sprout Special Forces. Oh, I'll have to look at that. If that's a new thing, then I'll definitely have a look at it, Maisie. Right, cool. Right, I'm doing what I've said. I'm going to close down the chat, and I just can't tear myself away from it. And people keep asking questions. Okay, so do I ever play with combo safe locks, real ones? No, I don't. I sort of am interested, and I've got a few around, but I just don't have the time. They take time. Oh, what's reverse picking? So reverse picking is sometimes where you overlift the pins and then release the tension until the pins drop back to the set position. I'm not very good at it, but I can sort of do a quick demo maybe of it on this lock, but it probably will not work. But the technique is what I'm going to show you. So the idea is what you can do is you can overlift all the pins like that, so they're all overlifted, and then just gently pulse the tension until you the pins might set back down. But I'm not very good at it, I'm afraid. So and it doesn't always work either, because they might not all bind all at the same time, and sometimes you need like a lot of tension. But you can also do it on like a few pins at a time. But like what I'm saying is you can overlift a pin and then just one pin and then let it reverse pick down, or one or two at a time. So let's see if that's. So yeah, I think one of them set there, but it's hard. I'm not, like I said, I'm not an expert in it, and I certainly would practice more. It's gonna pop open. If I raked it, it would, yeah, certainly. But yeah, it's just being a pain. Anyway, it's only like to show what overlifting was. I had no expectation this is actually open. I'm just, like I said, it's not a technique I practice, although it is really good. Matthew Richard wears by Monkey Paw sparrows, but I think a number of resellers do them. So yeah, look around. Thank you, Dan. And what safe combo locks do I have? That's a very good question. Yukov would know because he's got one of the locks that I have. I think it's a Mark something manifold. I can't remember off the top of my head. Anyway, right, I am going. I'm going to reply to some comments, then I'm going to go and have a drink and maybe watch a film and then go to bed. Mark 4. It's a Mark 4 manifold. Yukov says. There you go. Right, I'm off. I really am this time. So thank you so much for joining. It was great fun. I'll organise a better live next time, but it's super fun just to chat with people. All right, have fun, stay safe.